Hello, my name is Usman. I'm Dutch national. I lived in Holland before I moved to the UK in 2014. Played the Sunday League and got scouted by Norwich. Played at Norwich for 2 years. Then left Norwich, went to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Played there for 4 years and got released last year. End of the season, didn't get my scholar, and then end up when going to Kidderminster Harriers. And yeah, that's where I'm at currently.
Cool. So going back to getting scouted by Norwich, can you just tell us like sort of a bit more in detail how getting scouted actually works from sort of Sunday League?
I think from Sunday League, it's really hard to get noticed because not many scouts come to watch there. So I played there for about 3 years, and in that 3 years, probably one of the days, someone ended up coming watching, and I had a good game. And then the next day, I got a phone call saying you need to come up to Norwich for a trial. And then I went there. I did good. Like they liked me, and then straight after my first day, like played against Chelsea in my first game, I got
Really?
signed straight after the
You
yeah
got signed after that first game?
first game against Chelsea. I did pretty decent, and after the game, they signed me for two
Mm.
years.
So for any kids going on trial at pro clubs, would you say that doesn't like you hear of people getting sort of like 6 week trials, sort of a set amount of time, but would you say that it's sort of more if they notice that you got the talent, it'll be quicker than that. Like you could be in through the door straight away.
I had a 6 week trial as well. I mean, I'd done my first training session, and the next day we had a game, and then
Mm,
after the game, I got signed. So it depends how good you are. If they think like if, because they go normally go for their vision. If
mm.
they think you're going to be a good player, they just don't waste time signing you straight away. But if they need more time and they're thinking that like is not 100% sure, then they'll give you like a 6 week trial to see how you do well.
Mm. And when you're on trial, what do you think are the most? What are they? What do you think they're looking out for at academies?
I think it's quite pressure because you don't know what exactly they're looking for. So you just have to be whatever you're doing, just do it the best way possible. Whatever you do.
Mm. Cool. Cheers for that. Could you just run us through sort of the average week in a in an academy?
Average week. So this will be at Wolves. So when I was in school. So this is double because I was on full time at Wolves. So I had double sessions sometimes though. So in the morning, I would wake up, go to Wolves instead of school, have my breakfast there, have like a training session there with the 23s or 18s, whatever it is. And then I'll do like an hour of education at the Wolves. And then around lunchtime, 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'll go to school for about 2 hours. And then when I finish school, I'll come back to Wolves and then I'll chill there for about till 5, 6. Then I have gym session from 5 till about 6, an hour. And then we have training from like 6 to 8. So you have training twice a day sometimes. And then after that, I'll just get collected by taxi and go back home and then repeat that about 3, 4 times a week.
So it's a very much a very full commitment sort of thing.
Yeah, basically.
Do you think they get that balance right with sort of education, keeping that going on the side whilst you're obviously training twice a day?
I think education's like they do like help you out. They have their special teachers there and everything.
Mm,
But it's up to you mostly. With me, like I like dedicated my life to football. I didn't focus on the education
yeah.
side at all. And but yeah, it does like they do support you with the education, but it's mostly up to you, whatever you want to do.
Mm. Talk to me a little bit about Holland. You said to me you got called up twice. How did that come about?
I think I was doing well, pretty well at Wolves. I scored like there was a last game of the season against Man City, and we won that 1-0. And
Mm,
after that 1-0 game, I think a couple of weeks later, my agent called me and he said, the Holland wants you on for a call up, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, it was because my origin is Pakistani, and I was like the first ever Pakistani to be called up for a Holland national team.
really?
So it was a big achievement for me. So I couldn't believe it. I just thought it was like, is this fake? When I was actually there, the England Holland facility, the training ground, it just felt unreal. Play against with players, started playing for Ajax, Dortmund, the biggest clubs in Europe, you know.
Would you say it was a different level to sort of playing for Wolves then, playing for your national
I
team?
think in England it's more physical. You play against big players, whereas when you go like for the national team and you look at the players up there, there's all small players but all technical players, and they're technically much better, I think, than English football, technically wise. Than but UK is more better than like physically.
Fair enough. So yeah, I want to touch a little bit on the discrimination within clubs. Do you think it's a common problem across like several clubs and leagues within England?
It happens everywhere, to be honest. I mean, a lot of awareness has been raised recently, but I think a couple of years back ago there wasn't much awareness about it. But it's slowly to build up now, because back in the day there was a lot of discrimination in football academy clubs. It was like no one was doing anything about it. But now slowly, like, there's awareness coming in, there's programs coming in, and then they're trying to sort it all out, you know.
If you don't mind, could you like expand a little bit on maybe a couple of examples of discrimination you might have faced?
I think I made a video with Wolves. It was a discrimination video of how I went through. I don't know if you saw that video or not.
Yeah.
But
with Cody.
Yeah, with Cody and Adama Traore. But because it was for Wolves, I couldn't say the stuff I've been through at Wolves.
Right.
But I've been through more discrimination at Wolves anywhere else, you know, like at my own teammates. This is me like trying to open up a bit now, but my own teammates, I used to get racially abused by them, you know, and my brothers as well.
Do you think...
And then I can't really say the stuff because I don't want to say out names, because you know there are clubs, you know, and I don't want to affect their football, you know.
Yeah, no worries. I completely understand. So do you think at the time you were playing, at least, there wasn't enough support? There wasn't people you could talk to at the clubs? And you mentioned that you think it's getting a little bit better. What kind of things do you think are improving in terms of awareness?
I think they're just taking it a lot serious now. So if you're like found guilty of being racist, you get banned, and get all sort of like, there's a lot of consequences to it. You know, back in the days when I used to tell my coaches, they weren't really bothered about it. They acted like they took action, but in reality, they didn't really care, to be honest. Like, there were some 23 players that some are in around the first team right now. Some of them were racist as well. I mean, they only got like one match ban, and some of them, they just talk to the parents. But I feel like there should have been done more about it, other than just a one-game ban, or talk to the parents about it, you know?
And playing for Kidderminster now as well, do you think that's a problem in the non-league side of things as well?
To be honest, I haven't experienced anything Kidderminster at the moment. Probably because so much awareness has been raised, so a lot of people are aware of it now, so they mind what they say nowadays, you know?
Yeah. Back to the footballing side of things. Looking back at your time at Norwich and Wolves, in terms of training and having that constant pressure on you, does a part of you sort of wish that you stayed out of like professional academies till you're a bit older?
I think, you know, with football is, once you go into it, like once you go back out of it and you want to leave it, like once you go into it, you can't leave, because you will have that deep regret, you know, like, why did I stop? Yeah. So if you had to choose to go in, you have to go in with 100% commitment. Like, you have to be there on days when you don't want to be there, you know. And at the start, it's not for the easy people. That's what I'm going to say. Football is, or especially in academy life, is for those that can battle and fight and every day and stick to it, you know.
So do you think that's the most important attribute for a footballer, to just be consistent, even when you don't want to be there, just be there?
That's it. And that's the hardest thing to do, you know. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, is doing things you don't want to do, getting out of your comfort zone and being comfortable with uncomfortable.
Getting released, then how does that actually work? Like, what's it actually like, getting released?
Getting released probably because I'm a striker. So in my position at Wolves, there was 3 different strikers. So all of us, there was 4 of us. And there's a certain amount of players you can take as scholars. So there's, I think, about 6, 7 players out of 18 players. So strikers, there was too many strikers. I was the smallest striker there. There was 3 other strikers that all of them got scholar except me. It felt devastated because I think I wasn't consistent enough with the games. I had a lot of health problems as well. Like I barely played any games the whole season of that scholar year. So maybe that's why I think. And I was pretty small as well because the other strikers, they were pretty big. And normally nowadays in academy football, a lot of academy likes players who are big, tall, that can like hold up play, you know, like control the game.
So do you think academies prize physical attributes over technical in England?
100%. I went to Birmingham as well, and they said you're a good player, but we don't think you're gonna grow any more taller. So I was like, what kind of reason is that? They said I'm too small for a striker as well. So now I switched my position from striker to winger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, again, really, how do they like actually break that news to you?
I think they just sat me down and they said that like we don't think you're gonna get a scholar here. You can stay here till the end of the season, or you can go out and find another team. And to be honest with me, like I was happy because I wanted to leave Wolves because I knew I wasn't gonna get a scholar, even though I was devastated. But I knew deep down I wasn't gonna get one because I wasn't consistent enough. They sat down with me. They told me. I was really happy. I was like, I'm gonna leave now. I'm not gonna wait till the end of the season. I'm gonna leave now. And when I left, probably the best decision I've made because I felt like I was in a prison, you know. Now I feel like I can be myself. But back there, you controlled, usually monitored 24/7. It's just like feels like you're locked up in a prison. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. You mentioned the competition with the 3 other strikers. Do you think that the competition that academy football instills in players from such a young age, like as soon as you join an academy, you're competing with other players for your spot straight away? Do you think that sort of takes away from a team spirit? Because you're obviously trying to be mates with these other players, but at the same time, you're competing for the same shirt.
I think it's difficult because deep down, like they act like they're mates, but on the pitch, you know, sometimes because they know they're fighting for the same shirt, for the same spot, for the same scholar. Sometimes it affects your game because you're in a place where they could pass you can easily score and get that goal. And they take it. You know, there's a lot of selfishness as well when you're around scholar because everybody want to do well, you know, and get that scholar at the end of the day because everybody just want to do good themselves, you know.
Yeah, that's really interesting. When you were released, do you think there was enough support for you in terms of going to find that next club or moving on?
Not at all, to be honest. I thought like they could have done a lot better. But they seems to act like they cared, like they did something, but deep down they didn't do anything. They didn't look at my mental health side because mentally it affected me a lot. Like I had suicidal thoughts, everything when I got released, but I didn't have that support from the Wolves. That's the only thing that's literally I've told my brothers about as well because my little brother's still at Wolves as well. So now I try to speak to him and like on his mental side, because he wasn't going to get a scholar now as well. So I'm there for him now because I know how it felt for me. They weren't there for me, so I'm going to have to try be there for my little brother.
How hard is it getting back on your feet and getting playing again after being released?
I think you lose all motivation, you know, like with me, one thing is I never like give up no matter how many times I fall down. I've fallen down. I went to a couple of clubs and didn't end up well. Then I ended up coming to Kidderminster. I pulled an injury straight away. I was out for 5-6 months. Wanted to stop playing football. Lost all the motivation, and then slowly I just thought, you know what? Why did I start? You know, at the end of the day, I've been doing this for all the years. Wasted so much time. Didn't even do that properly education. So what's the point of me stopping now? So I just got back up again and, you know, started going again and again.
So is that an aim for you now to break back into the professional side of things?
Yeah, my plans now is at Kidderminster, I made a mistake. I came to a place because Kidderminster non-league is so different to academy football because you have to be physically strong and all they do, they don't really play proper football. They just hoof the ball and run, you know. It's not my type of football at all. So I felt like it's not a right place for me at Kidderminster, and especially the facilities there as well is not as great as especially if you're coming from a Cat 1 team to non-league. you're not used to the environment, you're not used to their play style. It's a big difference, you know. So for me, I'm gonna probably leave like anytime soon, and I'm thinking of going abroad to Germany. You know,
Oh, really? How come?
I think the football my play style will suit a lot more because in England, like academies mostly go for the physique of a player, of how tall he is and how big he is, how strong he is. Whereas I'm technically quite really good, so I think for me my best play style for would be in Germany. I think because that's where I came from, Holland, and Holland, Germany, the same thing. I've got a cousin in Germany as well, so I'm thinking gonna live with him there and then try for some clubs there and see how it goes.